Damn, guys, I mean, it's quite a way to start a video, but I just made this video, and when I was editing it, I accidentally deleted the recording, the voiceover, over the video, so screw me. Anyway, I'll get right into it, alright? This is gonna be not about what you see on the screen. That's gonna be just so you guys can watch and not get bored to death while I'm trying to explain myself. But this is gonna be a video talking about my worst Marine Corps experience. This is something that I think about nearly every day, and it's quite the story. I think you guys will appreciate it. Appreciate knowing some of the things that happen in the Marine Corps that maybe people don't tell you. And yeah, so I'll just jump into it. This is not in 29 Palms, which is where the video that you're watching takes place. This is in Bridgeport, California. This is a base, Marine Corps base, Bridgeport, and we do a lot of training there. It's right next to Yosemite Park. Okay, the Yosemite National Park. It's in California. It's very, very mountainous. It's got snow-capped mountains, and it's right next to Mono Lake. If you've ever been to Mono Lake, wow, Mono Lake. Okay, look that up right now if you can. That is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. Not even lake. It's just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm not even kidding. All right, look it up right now. But anyway, so we're there at Bridgeport. We can't see Mono Lake from there, so we hate our lives. We're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's really beautiful, but the beautifulness doesn't take away from the pain on my shoulders from carrying a 100-pound pack for 10 days in a row. Because we're doing a field op in Bridgeport. All right, we were there for a month, the month of October 2016. And we were doing a 10-day field op. I have a lot of stories from there. If you guys like this, just let me know. But this one's going to be one specific field op. So 5 days through, we're hating our lives, and we're only halfway through. We are in the middle of nowhere in this forest, on top of some stupid mountain, and it's freezing rain on us. So it's 30 degrees, and it's freezing rain on us, as in, like, you know, when, I don't know if any of you are not from Michigan, because that's where I'm from, or not from, like, the northern parts of the U.S., but freezing rain is where it's just, it's below 32 degrees, but it doesn't want to snow. It just wants to pour rain. So, it's freezing rain on us, and it's 3 a.m. That's where it takes place. We just got about 5 hours of sleep, which is some good sleep in the field, and it's 3 a.m. and it's freezing rain on us, and Firewatch, okay? So Firewatch are the people that make sure that the enemy isn't sneaking up on us. Sorry, I'm burping.
Oh, yeah.
Every hour of the night, we kind of switch off Firewatch. You have to go and take a post and watch for the enemy while everybody else sleeps. And they call Reveille at 3 a.m. So they're screaming, "Reveille!" And we all wake up, and we're all hating our lives and groaning, but we couldn't believe it, because we're in a tent city, all right? I'm over the place, but just listen up. We're in a tent city. It's our entire company, so 150 guys, and we're just in a bunch of two-man tents, so 70 of them. And we're all next to each other, and I'm sleeping with my best friend, Anchalusa. And we wake up, and we hear the Reveille, and we hear splattering rain on our tent. And we're like, no way, dude. There's no way they're going to make us get up in the freezing rain. But we open our tent, and I kid you not, there is like an inch of snow on the ground, okay, with a layer of ice, freezing ice over it. It's been freezing rain all night, and we hate our lives. I think I said that a couple times, but I'm gonna keep saying it until the end of this video. We hate our lives. So I was the first one to really start getting up. Our sergeant's yelling at us, "Get up, first squad." So I start packing my stuff up into my pack, because everything's sprawled out in our tent, and I get everything in the tent, or get everything in my pack, and it's wet. Okay, it's been leaking. The rain has been leaking into our tent, because they're old ass tents, and the Marine Corps doesn't care about us. So I packed this freezing, like ice sharded cloth shirts and stuff into my pack, and I'm already hating my life. So I'm the first one to get up, like I said, and then I walk out of the tent. I'm like, hey, I gotta get out at some point because we're gonna start a 15-hour hike at 3 a.m. A 15-hour hike with 100 pounds. And the reason I say 100 pounds is because when it's raining on you and you're carrying a bunch of wet stuff and there's snow and all that, it just adds up. It absorbs into your pack, and you end up not with an 80-pound pack, but 100 to 110 pack. And I'm only 125 pounds at that time. This was, so as you can tell, this was a brutal experience for me. Angelus was also in the same boat. He was like 150 pounds, but he's smaller than me. He's like 5'3", I'm 5'4". Anyway, so I'm up, and I'm in the freezing rain, and I'm starting to put away the tent. And while I'm doing that, I can't feel my hands because they're bare. If I wear the gloves, it's just gonna keep the stuff. It's gonna just absorb the freezing rain and freeze my hands. So I have bare hands right now. I packed away the tent, and Anchalusa, I look inside the tent, I'm like, hey, can you help me? Because, I can't get the stakes out with my hands. I can't even feel them. And he looks at me with those bug eyes from inside the tent, and he's like, I'm not going out there, dude. My sergeant hears us because he's in the tent right next to us. That was convenient. He goes to the other side of the tent. He looks in. He's like, Angelus, get the fuck up. I mean, this is quotes, so I can say the F word. Right? I can just say it. So Angelus, oh shit. So he gets up. He starts packing stuff quicker, and then he gets out at the last second, right after everybody else is out of their tents. And we start packing away our tent even more, and we end up putting it inside the Humvees. We have 3 Humvees with us, but they're just carrying one of the company doc and a couple other people, like the company radio operator and the gunny and the drivers, and that's about that. So the 15 minutes before we're about to hike off, we're all in a line. Our company ends up joining the other companies, so we're in a giant, like 800 man, a battalion-sized hike. We're in a giant line, a 2-man line. And honestly, it turns into a patrol, so we're kind of far away from each other, but it's still a line. And now it's 5 minutes, so we got ready, we got into the line, we're getting all ready, and okay, so my sergeant, we all have our coats on, we all have our cloth stuff on, and they yell out 5 minutes, and that means, hey, we gotta take off our warming layers. So I start taking off my warming layers, and oh my god, dude, I had to take off the warming layers in the freezing rain. It was 30 degrees outside, it was raining on me. And I was in nothing but a t-shirt at this point. We're at like 10,000 foot elevation, because remember, we're on top of a mountain, and it's only higher from here. Believe me. And while I'm taking things off, I'm just in a t-shirt, and I'm stuffing this stuff in my pack, and I can't feel a thing. I have to have somebody help me clip the things on my pack away, so I can stuff the wet ass heavy warming layers inside my pack. And people are helping me, and then I get them all there, and I'm just dying. You're not supposed to wear warming layers during a hike because you're gonna warm up. I think it's just absurd because even in Bridgeport, we didn't warm up. We come from 29 Palms, the desert that you're watching right now. We don't warm up. We're used to 120 degree heat. So now they put us in this 30 degree heat, and they're telling us, hey, don't be warm. Don't put on a warming layer in the freezing rain. So you can just tell the ridiculousness of it all. So now, 5 minutes before the hike, everybody starts taking out their stuff. And I was lucky, apparently, because 3 guys in our company alone, in our 150 people that was connected to the battalion, we had 3 guys drop almost dead. They were hypothermic. They were just on the ground writhing, and they couldn't understand a thing. They were almost passed out, and we had to evacuate them into the Humvees because they were almost dead. All right. I don't even know how to explain it. You'll understand more when I give this. Sorry, my sister just pulled in, but you'll understand more later in the story. So basically, we're all in this. Sorry, I'm waving hi to Elise. We're all in this giant line, and people are dropping out already. We didn't even start the hike, and people are dropping into hypothermia. And oh, she waves. Yeah. So, geez, I'm losing my concentration. She's opening up the garage. All right, I'm just gonna close my eyes so I can remember. All right, so we start going up this hill because we started the hike, and we crossed by the stream. It's so dark outside, you can't see anything, but it's like a foot-long stream of freezing rain. It's a natural kind of flash floody river, and we couldn't see a thing. It was 3 a.m. and it's the only thing we have is the stars from the night guiding our way, but there's trees all over us and we can't see a thing. So all we could tell that there was a river was because there was the sound of it. All right. So as we got closer, we had to go and get close to the river during this hike, and then we had to jump over this foot-long river. And I mean, if we had missed, I can only imagine trench foot. The trench foot would be real. All right. So anyway, we start hiking up there, and all along the way, this is like 5 hours to the top of this mountain, because we had an objective. We were supposed to get to the top of this mountain, right? And despite the weather, despite everything, we were going to get to the top of the mountain, secure the area, because there was an unknown enemy threat there. It turns out there's no enemies there, but that's besides the point as of right now. But we start hiking up there, and like 5 hours into the hike, we're almost there. We take a break right before summiting the mountain, right before we're gonna reach enemy contacts. And my sergeant, he was so proud of me because, I'm a light guy. He knows that I struggle with hikes. So he gives me he held a Snickers bar. He gives me half of the Snickers bar, but it's frozen. It's frozen to the bone. I couldn't even bite into it, so I just kind of sucked on it for like 30 minutes until it kind of dissolved in my mouth. But he gives me half a Snickers bar, and that was a defining moment in my life. My sergeant usually yells at me. He gives me half a Snickers bar in the middle of a hike because he was proud of me. So that was kind of cool. But we ended up summiting the mountain, and all along the way, obviously, people are going to hypothermia. We had to go and give them bodily warmth. We had to get on top of them and take their gear off and keep them warm with our bodies. And we had to go and carry their stuff. So now, like, if people drop into hypothermia, the Humvees can't follow us up here. They're going down a road. They're away from us. We have nobody. We have nobody except ourselves. So we had to carry their 100-pound packs on top of our 100-pound packs and run up this giant 45-degree slope of a mountain. It was stupid. I think it was a 12,000-footer or something. I think that's where it ended up getting on this mountain. But so the freezing rain is turning into snow at this point. I know. It's turning. We can see it turn from freezing rain to snow, and it's just setting on our packs, and people have like a layer of snow on top of our packs while we're summiting this mountain. And we get to about the top of the mountain, not peaked it, at least not my squad, but everybody, we just get to the top of this mountain, and like immediately, we don't even do the objective. We're like, look, this is a dire situation. We have Marines dropping out, and our corpsmen are like, fuck the operation. Everybody get underneath these trees, heat up some water. We are not going to let these Marines die for some stupid training. So we all get up there, and people, I mean, I'm kind of laughing when I say this, but I mean, that's what the military does to you. You just find the humor in the dumbest things, and just like, if you didn't, you would go insane, believe me. So we're on the top of this mountain. My friend Webster, he grabs this tree and he just rips off the limb. He's like shaking this the limb on this tree, a giant limb. It was a big limb, and it just cracks in half because I guess it was being frozen. Frozen rain was dripping on it and stuff, so it just kind of cracks off, and then he chucks it into the snow, and he screams. He's like, ah! Because he's dying. He hates his life, and I mean, that's just Webster. And it's kind of funny because Bridgeport, it's right next to the Yosemite National Park. So they tell us, like, if you break a tree branch or if you purposely break a tree, it's like a $20,000 fine to our company or our unit. But Webster doesn't give a fuck at this moment. Nobody does. So we rip off a tree just for anger, out of pure anger. And he did that, and I mean, what else can I say? Oh, my friend Norris, all right? He was in 3rd squad, he was in 3rd squad. 3rd squad, they peaked the mountain. They got to the very tip, and it's a blizzard. It's a whiteout blizzard, all right? We can't even see them. They start coming back, and my corpsman's like, "Who's that?" And he's like, "What the fuck?" Like, okay, so the corpsman, he's the medic. I don't know if I already told you that, but he's like the Marine Corps' medics. They come from the Navy, and because we don't have medics in the Marine Corps, we only have Navy corpsmen. And he's getting so mad that the 3rd squad leader decided that they were going to go to the peak of the mountain to search for enemies and come back. And they come back, and they're just, like, there's 12 guys, right? Like, guys who have never seen the snow before. And they come back, just the stalest faces. I don't know if it was because they were in hypothermia and frostbite all over because they couldn't move their face muscles or what it was. They had the blankest, like, 1,000-yard stare that you could ever see, and they're just so mad. They just, oh jeez. They come back, and the corpsman's like, all right, give them hot water, because, okay, one of them that came back, Norris, I think that's where I was going with this. Norris, he comes back, and he's frothing at the lips. He's on extreme frostbite, or extreme hypothermia, probably frostbite in his toes or something, but he's freaking out. He can't remember things. He's fucked up, man. And we give him hot water, we give him warm water, and we make him move around. We have bodies on him, and we're walking him around, making sure he doesn't pass out in the snow like the others. Because once you pass out up there, okay, yeah. Our company commander, he's like, oh geez, he got a negative counseling. Okay, so he almost got NJP'd as an officer. NJP is like, it basically means you can't be an officer anymore, because of this moment, because he made us go up there, and in the middle of a whiteout blizzard, and he's like, oh, I'll just call in a medevac. So he tries to call in an osprey to go and pick us up from the top of this mountain. They're like, nope, we can't do that. It's blizzarding. Like, you can't just put like a helicopter, an osprey that already breaks down as it is, into a blizzard and have them pick up these guys. It was just a stupid decision. So, yeah. So our corpsmen know that the only way off this mountain is if we hike down it, and we have to carry everybody with us. It was a tough time. Oh God, it was death-defying. It was pretty insane. So. Oh yeah, my friend, one of the guys in my squad. Oh yeah, he's the guy who's right next to me in the video. We dug a hole. We've been through a lot of field ops together. All right, so he's next to me in that video that you're watching. His name's El Goso. He's got his left hand. All right, I'm laughing, but I mean, if you heard me laughing, you'd be fine with it. I mean, he just understands that it's just a stupid situation. His left hand, it was double its size. I kid you not. He had frostbite, and it was turning blue. It was like pale. It was turning blue, and it was double its size. And we were like, holy shit. And our corpsman's like, what the fuck? And he's like, get off this mountain. You know, he starts demanding that we get off this mountain. The corpsmen are freaking out. Our medics are like, what the hell are we doing? So we start getting off the mountain, and we start getting in this line to go off the mountain and hike back to the rendezvous point where there's going to be supplies. And so we start hiking down there, and it's the stupidest decision, or the stupidest hike situation. It was the dumbest situation ever. It was the worst day of my life. I think I already said that, and I hate my life. I'll say that for the 10th time. Just for good measure. And we're about an hour away from the rendezvous point, and I don't know who it was, all right? But they see these buildings in the distance. Some guy, and he's like, contact, and oh, shit. So we had to go. There was contact left. So contact left, and we all get in line as a battalion, and we're all just in these woods, and we just hate our lives. We're like, we don't even give a fuck at that point. We're just wasting our blank rounds. We're just like, bang, 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 bang. You know, we're trying to go empty, so they'll be like, oh, you destroyed the enemy, you know, now you can go on a hike again. So, oh man, we were just going through rounds. We were sitting there for like, I mean, it felt like an eternity, because if you're not moving and not having your blood rushing, like, you know, from the hike, and you're just sitting on the ground, that's where you get frostbite. That's where people were getting frostbite at the top of that mountain. Wow, it was just insanity. So while we're firing at these buildings, I look over to my left. My buddy Anchalusa, all right. Him and I, we were gonna go and we were buddies for this contact. We were right next to each other, and that's how it goes. And I look over to him, and he's next to these two trees. Oh Jesus, man, he was asleep. Okay, he was falling asleep. I could see him nodding off, and like, I don't know what it was from. I mean, what can you say? Was it from the 15-hour hike? Was it pure exhaustion? Was it because of lack of sleep? I don't know. All I can say is that it looked like he was dying, dude. He had hypothermia, all right? I mean, nobody could take his temperature at the time. We still had to move, but he was falling asleep in those conditions. That only happens if you're about to die. If nobody else was around him, if I wasn't around him and he was laying in there for an hour, he would have been dead. So, I mean, that happens. So I run over to him like, hey, wake up, man. Like, what's up? And he's like, whoa, you know. And he's kind of out of it. I'm like, I'm getting my sergeant. And, yeah, I mean, he ends up being, he's all good. But we all, in our hands, all right? This is kind of a little off topic. In our hands, like, just to show even just how cold it was. Everybody in my company, I don't know a single person who doesn't have this. We have these tingles in our hands now. Like if we're just walking down the street, we'll get tingles in our hands. It's because our nerves are shot or whatever it is. I looked it up once, but it's basically we had frostbite and we overcame it, but we have permanent damage from it, permanent nerve damage. We just get tingles, and I'm sure he has tons of those. Just everybody who had hypothermia. So we start hiking back. They're like, hey, the enemy's dead. And while we're hiking back, god damn, man, it was just a stupid time. We start hiking back and we're going through. We decide just to get straight on the road. You're never supposed to do that in training or in an operation. You're never supposed to just go on a road because those can be lined with IEDs. But at this point, our medics are like, I will not. They said that's not going to be an option, all right? Like, we're going to go on the road. I don't, you know, they didn't care at that point if we were Marines or not. Like, we're not going to make people die for a training operation.
Yeah, more?
And, wow, I mean, we ended up walking up the last stretch, and, it was crazy, man. I mean, oh yeah, before we got to that last stretch, we're going through these mountains, all right? Remember, we're going up and down these mountains, and they're snow-capped, and there's snow rain on us, and it was just the dumbest situation. Oh, man, we had some engineers attached to us. We had some non-infantry folks, all right? And somewhere down the line, they didn't keep a connecting file. You're always supposed to see the person in front of you and always supposed to see the person behind you. And they decided that they weren't going to see the person in front of them or behind them. I forget which one it was. So we ended up getting lost. And it was I ended up finding them, but we took 10 minutes. We were underneath this tree. And Anchalusa, he was freaking out. He was like whistling, you know, with the whistle that they had, because you're supposed to whistle it anytime you're lost. And he's whistling, and my sergeant's like, "Shut up, man. We're gonna find them." And it was just a tough time because the engineers, some non-infantry guys that don't know what they're doing, they almost got us lost and killed because we were in the middle of. I mean, if you stop hiking and if you stop moving your blood, and we're just underneath this tree, then for more than probably 30 minutes, then you're probably gonna die, or you're probably gonna go on hypothermia or something. It was just dumb. But I mean, we finally, we found I found them. I saw them off in the distance. I'm like, oh, there they are. And I point, and my sergeant sees them, and they were like 1,000 meters off. We were waiting there a long time. We were waiting there for 15 minutes. They got a long ways. So we ended up meeting up to them, and we start going down the mountain, the last mountain, and we end up reaching the rendezvous point, and oh man. I mean, there were no supplies. Remember the rendezvous point? It was supposed to be rendezvousing with the supplies. None. There were none.
Same range.
So, I mean, that's a story for another day. Probably another 10-minute video. I'd be able to, or actually 5-minute video. I'd be able to tell you the last little bits of this story. But I mean, that basically sums up the worst day of my life. All right. It was a tough time. I mean, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. I mean, if any of you have been through something that just like the worst day of your life like this, if any of you are vets, or if any of you just if you just have a terrible experience like that, let me know down in the comments so I know I'm not alone. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's worse or if it's better than my situation. Just put it down in the comments. Share it. It's good to go and let people know. Like, it's good to get it out of your mind, because I think about this a lot. I'm sure you do too. So anyway, that was the worst day of my life, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you guys later with some more videos and probably an extended one of this, finishing the story, like I said. So anyway, see you, killers.